Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I want to tell you about a class that I will be teaching over at Michael's on March 17th, and I encourage you to sign up if you would like to learn a little bit more about using a limited supply of colored pencils to create, well, honestly, we're going to draw these plums, but I want you to be able to create whatever you want to create using a limited supply. I know it can be overwhelming. You get the pack of 100 colored pencils and you're like, oh my gosh, where do I go now? And you spend all your time looking for the most perfect color. Well, you can actually get the most perfect color by layering up the colors in a limited palette. We're going to be working with the Derwent ChromaFlow set of 24 pencils. Now, if you don't like ChromaFlow or you already have a full set of colored pencils, especially if they're by Derwent, you can go through and just look at the names that are in the 24 set and choose those out of your set. They do use the same names in different sets, so it's really nice for you to be able to follow along in the line of pencils that you prefer. Now, the cool technique we're going to be doing, or I should say the cool surface we're going to be working on, is something you're going to want to prep before class, and it is sanded paper. So all you have to do, it's not fancy, it's not difficult, it's not even very expensive, is you're going to need to get some clear gesso. And what clear gesso is basically it's almost like a glue that's got a sandy texture into it. I'm simplifying it, but that's pretty much what it is. It's like a sealer that's sandy. So you can brush that over paper, you can brush that over mat board, you can brush that over cardboard. Honestly, you can put it on whatever you want to do to be able to use colored pencils on top. I'm working on a mat board scrap, mainly because I mat my own paintings when I do my own framing, so I have loads of these scraps lying around. You could also tape down a piece of black paper and clear gesso it. I would tape it down first though, just so it doesn't curl, and then you can leave it right on that board until class time. And this will give you an exquisite surface to work on. Now, the class is limited to 50 students and the cost is $20. And after the class, which will run about an hour and a half to 2 hours, you will get a recording. It'll probably be a day or two later, but if you were attending the class, you'll get a recording emailed to you afterwards. So if you didn't get a chance to complete in class, you can work on it at your own pace or go back and review it later. Since this is going to be a limited class, a limited amount of students, you'll be able to ask me questions. You'll be able to share your artwork with me. If you're having trouble as we go along, you can show me your work and get my advice. So that's the benefit of having this smaller group versus the other Michael's classes I've taught where we've had upwards of 1,000 people in there. So this is just an opportunity to be able to take more of a have a smaller student to teacher ratio and hopefully progress a little bit more, because that's what it's all about. It's all about building our skills, learning how to use the supplies we have a little bit better and get more bang for our buck. You'll learn how to do the waxy texture of a plum. You'll learn how to do shiny, glossy dewdrops. You'll learn how to get that texture of the leaf. You'll learn how to draw a curled over leaf, which is really, I think, adds a lot of dimension and is really beautiful. And I'm also going to show you how you can put a background in after you've already drawn your focal subject. I get a lot of questions from students that don't know what to do, or if they should put a background in, they just get kind of stuck. They don't want to ruin the focal point, the work they've put in so far, but sometimes a picture can just feel kind of empty without that background in there. And I'm going to show you how to do that and give you some tips and techniques for putting a background in that doesn't steal the attention away from your subject. The cost for this class is $20. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before because this is my second take recording this. I wanted to put the time lapse up though, so folks that weren't interested in a long class, they could still see this. And also I think it's kind of nice to know what you're getting into, what you're in for when you sign up for a class. And that can also kind of mentally prepare you. So if you're watching this before the class, I highly recommend that. You'll get a good idea of the steps we're going to take and how we're going to go about it. And I also want to mention that the age limit on this class is 13 and up. So if you have a teenager that's really into colored pencil or wants to get started in colored pencil, artsy kid, they are more than welcome. As you know, I always keep my content clean and family friendly. So it definitely would be appropriate for that. The class is March 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you can, if you go to the link in the video description, it'll tell you what time it will be in your local time over on the right hand side. Now there is limited seating available and it's first come first served. So if you are interested, you can go claim your spot. There is a cancellation policy. You can cancel up to 24 hours before the class time. Although I encourage you to check your schedule before you sign up, just so it doesn't keep a spot from somebody else that would like to take it. But you know, hey, life happens. I get it. So there is cancellation available, which is really cool. So yeah, prep your paper with clear gesso, and hopefully I will see you in class over at Michael's on the 17th. So I'll have all the information in the video description. You can find the full class list, the full supply list, which is pretty short, over at michaels.com if you follow that link. And I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have to say about the class. You will be able to share your work with me. So if you want to raise your hand, hold up your work. At the end, I will ask everyone to share their work if they want to. But if you get stuck midway, then you will be able to also raise your hand and ask me a question there. I feel like I'm repeating myself. But it ought to be a really fun time. I'm looking forward to it. I've always had a great time. Anytime I've taught over on the Michaels classroom, it's been a lot of fun. And I love that they have moderators there that make sure everybody's questions get answered and get brought up. And it's just a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to bring it to you. So if you have any questions other than that, let me know in the comments down below, and I will let you know what your answer is. If I can answer it, I'm pretty sure I should be able to. But that's all I have. I want to thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you in class at Michael's on the 17th. And again, that's online, so wherever you are in the world, you can take part with this. And don't feel like you have to have a lot of drawing experience. It's it's circles, guys. It's not even perfect circles. They're wonky circles. They are lines and scribbles, and, it's very forgiving. That's one of the things I love about working on the gessoed surface, is that it's extremely forgiving, and you can keep on adding and keep on adding. And I think that's the thing when you're working with a limited supply, you need to mix colors, right? Because you've got 24 here, and we're not even using all 24. We've got 24 colors, and so if we need to make a color, we're gonna have to layer it up. We're gonna have to mix it, and that clear gesso gives you enough tooth that you can keep layering up. If that red is too orange, you can layer up some magenta. If that magenta is too pink, you can layer up some purple. You can keep adding to it until you get it just right. It also makes your paper more resilient. So if you've ever had an experience where you're working on paper and like you made a mistake and you went into a race and you just kind of tore up your paper, or your paper started pilling or balling up, and you've definitely exhausted the surface of your paper, this layer of clear gesso makes it resilient, and it creates a barrier. So if you go to erase, it's going to erase cleaner. We shouldn't need to erase, but if you need to, you can. But it also protects that paper so it's not getting degraded and abraded every time you go in there to erase or blend or do anything like that. So that's another reason I really recommend that. You don't need a big bottle of it. I had a little sample size. I actually love the little sample sizes of the clear gesso with the wide mouth top, because it's so easy to get your brush into. So there's a tip for you if you are shopping. If they sell those smaller jars, that's probably going to be a little more convenient for you, especially if you're just using it once in a while. I think that a lot of times when we're creating, we say, okay, I want to draw whatever it is. I want to draw a plum. And so I go and I color the whole thing purple because plums are purple. But what you'll learn as an artist is you'll learn to see those undertones. You're going to learn to see all those other colors that you might have overlooked before. And that's what makes the artwork look more realistic. And it's all those little tips and tricks you might not know if you've never taken an art class, or if you've never had a chance to study under somebody. So I encourage anyone who's curious about pencils to check out this beginner level. It's intermediate, but I think any beginner with a good interest would really enjoy it. Give it a try. You don't know if you like it unless you give it a try, right? And I guess that's pretty much all I have to say today. I hope you enjoyed this time lapse, and if you want to learn more, then I hope to see you in the class over at Michael's on March 17th. Link is in the video description. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, happy crafting.